Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Binman and today you are tuned in for a really fun fall trendy look that is actually wearable with a lot of the colors that we are seeing in fashion. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and keep watching. I've already washed my face and done my skincare, so let's get started by neutralizing the face. We are doing an eye look specific today, so we are going to start off with our primer by NARS, and that is just going to neutralize any little veins that are peeking through the skin, taking it from the lash line all the way up to the brow. On both lids, using our ring finger, which is our weakest finger. Making sure everything is nice and smooth as well. It has a lot of silicone in there, so it not only grips onto the eyeshadow, it also smooths out any little wrinkles that might be going on. You can always tap it in too if you need to. Alright, that is looking good. Now we are going to neutralize our under eye circles. So I'm going to use Bobbi Brown's Corrector, also using my ring finger. And just really lightly tapping the skin. This can be a really great motion too if you have a little extra puffiness in the morning, just to get rid of the puffiness, just to help with that drainage in your face. Sometimes depending on how we sleep, maybe what we ate right before we slept, if we got enough water, if we had too much caffeine, things like that, our under eye can kind of collect that a little bit. So if you are feeling a little puffy, just kind of start to tap right around here, and that will help to release anything that kind of got stuck the night before. You can also get some facial massaging going on too before you put on your makeup as well. So again, because we are doing an eye focus look, I don't want to get too into the complexion, so we are just going to jump right into the eyes. I'm going to give my eyes a little bit of a break, and I'm going to do my brows to make sure that everything is nice and balanced. I know I'm not going to be putting any makeup in my brows, so that is going to be just fine to kind of jump ahead to that area. We can always go back and perfect later if we need to, like if you need to draw in any on the inner part of your brow. You can always go back and do that after, but just kind of getting the basic shape, filling those in a little bit more. Now we're going to go in with Satin Kajal by Victoria Beckham. It is the best. I know Lisa Eldridge just came out with one too. I haven't tried it yet. I'm excited to try it, but I love the Victoria Beckham one. Just to make our lashes look a little bit thicker and a little bit more youthful. I'm also going to go in with another one, and this is in Smoky Quartz. I'm going to put that on my lower waterline. And this does just add the perfect amount of smoke to your eyes. It's a good trick too if you maybe didn't get as restful of a sleep as you wanted to the night before, or you're just feeling a little tired. Sometimes just going with a smoky eye is a great way to kind of hide that. We are going back in with the matte connecting color in the Burgundy shades. So beautiful. Burgundy was in many places on the runway for fall 2023. So we're just going to be playing with some of these shades. Today we are going to be playing with these three shades mostly, and I'll bring in this charcoal brown if I need to kind of balance it out or give the illusion of a thicker lash line. So first I'm going to go in with that medium shade on my 207, and I might actually mix a little bit of my bronzer in there as well, just so it's a little bit softer of an application. When I'm just starting to figure out a palette, and this is a newer palette for me, I like to kind of mix in some neutrals that I trust and I understand how they work. But you can see like the bronzer isn't really affecting it that much. So we're still getting a really beautiful defined eye without going too purpley. Now for me, because of my under eye situation, if I go too purple, that can really affect how I look. I can start to look a little zombie-ish. So I always have to be very careful when I'm playing with these colors, not to go too purple, even though purple is the opposite of green and would really pop my eye color. Every time I've done it, I just look so tired. So take that into account as you are picking out your eyeshadow colors or an eyeshadow look. You have to look at the whole face. You can't just look at your eye color, which is a very popular way of choosing eyeshadows. Definitely experiment before you're going somewhere with a new palette, because not all purples are created equal. For example, I find that purples with a little bit more red in them work better for me, but if it goes too cool, that's when I get into trouble and start to look a little ghostly. Okay, I'm loving that. That's so good. So now I'm feeling more confident, and I'm going to go in with my 217 into the same color, and I'm just going to build that up a little bit. So we know that the 90s kind of aesthetic is coming back in a new way and kind of blending with some other styles from the 70s and the 60s and all of that, which is really, really fun. But what we're also seeing is kind of a return to grungy makeup. So grungy makeup it's not supposed to be as perfected as makeup has been in the past. The colors are supposed to just meld into each other instead of like, here's my color, here's my color, here's my color. So this is great news for all of my viewers. It's great news for everybody because it's a softer look. We don't have to be as defining as we have been in the past. So I'm just wiping down my brush, and I'm going to go in with that darker burgundy color, which is great because I have some rust color in my dress that I'm wearing today. And this is just another tip. When you are playing with these colors and you're kind of going for a bolder eye, do your eye first before you do your lips, because it might change what you're going to do. And I'm just adding a little bit of impact on the end. You can absolutely do this with a pencil brush, but I want it to be a little bit softer. A pencil brush is really going to give me impact, and I just want to touch a little soft touch of the darkness. And just relax your face to make sure that you're actually going to be able to see it with your eyes open, and of course stepping back a little bit to make sure that you can see the whole picture. And now we're going to go in with the 203 into our shimmer shade, and we're just going to add a little bit of light. This is a great soft eye for daytime. It would be great for work. It would be great for any time you're wearing something that has reds and burgundies and any of those colors in there, and it just feels very fall forward. Okay, we're going to leave the eyes alone for just a little bit. I'm going to do my liner in a moment because I'm going to be doing the wings, and if I don't do my complexion first, that could get a little messy. So we're kind of jumping all over the place, but there is a reason. So now I'm going to go back in and do my complexion. So concealer, Giorgio Armani, do a fiber brush, and just really, really lightly tapping and blending out. I'm going to use my fingers as well. And then we can always bring that smokiness underneath the eye, and I think we definitely will because I put on that smoky quartz. Otherwise, the eye can look a little unbalanced if we don't. And you can just bring your bronzer down. You don't have to do the whole smoky eye again unless it's like nighttime and you want to go really smoky, and then you should, absolutely. Okay, going in with Seemless Skin Foundation. I'm going to use my 55. We're just going to kind of slam through the complexion because we spent our time on our eyes, and now we need to go. We need to get on with our busy lives. So I'm just dotting the face. And I'm just going to take whatever is left on my brush from my hand, get into my nose. My nose has been a little bit more discolored than the rest of my face lately. We're going to go with the ambient lighting on the 110. Yes, I know that the 110 is actually for concealer from BK Beauty, but I find that has been an amazing powder brush for this powder. It's giving me just a little bit more coverage. And remember, a lot of the brushes now are synthetic, so you can use them wherever you want with whatever product you want. It doesn't have to be, nothing is really powder or liquid specific anymore if you're buying a new brush, because it's all synthetic. It's fine. Mix and match your brushes. Just make sure you're wiping down in between. I'm going to grab a little bit of Sweet Enough for my cheeks. It's a really kind of dull pink, which I think suits this entire look really, really nicely. Another great one, Tarte has some really beautiful, like, muted pink blushes as well, if you're not a blush person like myself. I'm going to go in with my bronzer on my BK Beauty bronzer brush. Just do a little bit of a contour bronze. I want to give my skin life, but it doesn't need to be Bronze Goddess. So just sweeping under the cheekbone, just doing that 3 and the E, but I'm doing it out of order. So 3 and E. Usually I don't put a lot right here because I find for me it just gets a little, too much. All right, we're gonna add just a little bit of highlight. 3 little dots. Going back in with a duo fiber. And then we know that complexion is done. I'm going to leave my brows alone. I think they look just fine. It doesn't have to be perfect every day, right? That is totally, totally fine. Okay, now we're going to finish up the eyes. I'm going to wipe down one of my 217s. I'm going to go back in with that medium shade, and I'm just going to bring a little bit under on my, kind of my second lid. So remember, if you kind of squint your eye and some of that skin pops out, then you also have a second lid. Not everybody does, but if you do, it lends itself very nicely to a smoky eye because it kind of covers up that extra poof that happens as your face moves throughout the day. If this was later in the evening or I really wanted to do a super makeup-y look, I would go back in with that darker Bordeaux color and just tap that right there. But for daytime, this is plenty. It's nice and soft. I could even go in with a little bit of bronzer and just kind of soften that up even more, or smoke it out a little bit more if I wanted to. So that is good for me. Okay, now we're going to get into the liner. We're going to use Stila. Always shake it up a little bit. We are going to follow our lower lash line. Connect that into the lash line. Just little dashes. Checking in my mirror, and I just want a little kitten wing. Doing little dashes again. And then we're going to go in with our chocolate shimmer and just soften that up because, again, it's daytime. I'm wearing quite a bit of brown, kind of brown and black and rust today. And that just softens the whole thing. So now we're going to go in with our mascara, 3D Maximizer. Get right into the roots. Go back in with Smokey Eye Mascara from Bobbi Brown. and just a touch on the lower lash line. Okay, I'm feeling really good about the balance of everything, so I'm just going to add a little bit of a gloss. I was deciding between Rain and Muse. I think I'm going to go with Rain. I can always put Muse on top. If I need to. I don't want the lips to steal the show, so I will add a little Muse on top just to take it down a touch. And that is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching this burgundy inspired tutorial. When I saw this theme, this trend coming through on the runways, I knew I wanted to grab onto it because I love Bordeaux in the fall, and I feel like a lot of clothing right now has Bordeaux and chocolates and other forms of brown, which lend itself really nicely to this color of makeup. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday, so make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!